Hello, Internet. It's been a minute. So, I'm not very good when it comes to November or December. There's a lot that goes on. And with this month of January, I've also had yet more of a lot going on, including working more and breakup and, you know, just stuff. Life gets in the way. It happens. And I'll probably be every November, every December, just on my own. Now, Yule is extremely important to me, and I do celebrate, especially between the 22nd to the 1st, which is traditional for Yule, because there's a lot to cover about Yule. There's so much information out there. But that is not what we are talking about today. I should have talked about that last month. That was the last month thing. But hey, there's plenty of resources out there, and Yule is easy to discover. What I'm about to talk about next is not easy to discover. Unless you're someone like me, or if you're actually good with spirits and entities and beings from the beyond, from other realms. I've had an encounter recently, and it baffled me. It was actually earlier today, this morning, as a matter of fact. Now it's almost midnight. I've been busy working and, trying to figure out what this encounter was. At first, I thought it was a dream. Now, I tell you, I've been talking to Bune, number 26 in the Book of Solomon, Goetia, demon, only demonized because of Christianity. Bune is an entity, a being who just wants to help its people, who just wants you to succeed. And so there's that. And I actually have gotten help from Bune. So I thought maybe I dreamt about Bune, but I'm not entirely sure, even still now. According to Aurelius, I forgot the rest of his name already. I'll put it down in the description. I'll make a copy of his video, or I'll copy paste it in the description, where you could kind of see his experience with Bune and how my story relates. Now, when you're researching an entity, you want to listen to everybody's opinion on who has met that entity. How has that entity responded to their ritual, or if that entity responded to their ritual. Read about this entity in books. Do some research. That's all I gotta say. I cannot be the only person who stresses that enough, as well as has these personal, true, real experiences. This morning I woke up, and then I did my morning thing of snuggling my doggies, because my dogs like being snuggled in the morning. And so normally I do not fall back asleep when I'm snuggling my dogs. Normally I just snuggle them and watch a show and then just go throughout my day. Well, I don't think I fell asleep. I think I traveled to another realm. I think I went somewhere else, off of this planet. It wasn't even dream realm, I tell you. I didn't even have any incense or candles lit, but I have been called a sorceress by many people. And don't think about video games or D&D or Fireball. No, I'm not that type of sorceress. That's a fantasy sorceress. Like, I actually do summon entities and beings and speak to other things in other realms, and I've always been that way. So anyways, I do believe I astral projected unintentionally. I appeared in a house. I was traveling the mountains, and I was really tired from driving, and I think my car broke down, and I decided I'm gonna go inside. This house looks empty. No one's in the parking lot. No one's here. There's no furniture, just a little bit of cluttery, empty space. So I went in, and I felt like a welcoming energy. And in the morning when I woke up from being in that house, a guy had shown up. And he was black and had said, "What are you doing here?" Basically questioning me. And then, like, I forgot most of the conversation. I probably should have written it down as soon as I had the experience. But, so anyways, we were talking about how I was looking for a new place to live and I was traveling cross country so that way I could find my new home. And then he was talking about how he needed a roommate. And then all of a sudden the house changed into another house. But instead of the mountains, we were in the city. Now, I couldn't tell you what city we were in or what the technology was like or anything, but the house was fancier and I definitely felt city vibes. And then he looked more Egyptian this time. And oh, before I forget, he had his right eye was emerald green. I kid you not, emerald green. His left eye was hazel. Now, being a sorceress like me and a person who actually, is able to communicate to spirits and things such, we're able to see more. And his hazel eye was not normal. It was magical. It was the universe. Like, that hazel eye suddenly had the universe in it. And that's how it was when I first saw the guy. When he first approached me, one emerald green, one hazel. When he changed, his hair was the same, his stature was the same, his style was the same. He just looked a lot more Egyptian. And so I was confused. And we were in a different house. So I felt like we were in 3 houses in one for some reason, because I guess the houses changed as our conversation changed. And so then the third house was more of a suburban neighborhood, basic bitch house, and he was in military uniform. Now, this is what threw me off. As far as I know, Bune doesn't wear military uniform, and he was completely white. And his eyes were still the same, and I couldn't tell about his hair. It was under a hat. The weird part about this uniform is it had gray feathers on the hat, and it had gray feathers on the gloves. The gloves kind of threw me off a little bit, and I questioned his military status and what he did. I'm a military brat. I've dated military guys. I live in a military town, so it's only natural for me to question certain people when I'm in weird situations, and I thought I was in a weird situation. So he showed me on his wrist 2 gemstones. That really threw me off. I've never heard of a military that uses gemstones for status. And one was yellow and one was red. He was, I suppose, a low-ranking officer of some sort in that particular time when we were talking. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not sure because, like I said, I've never actually heard of military with feathers and gemstones, like they're peacock military or something. I don't want to offend it because I really do believe I was talking to an Egyptian god, and I've never, ever wanted to disrespect Egyptian gods. And I did help run a coven, House of Tahuti Thoth, which is an Egyptian coven, Egyptian-based beliefs. We were open about all paths and trying to, be like a Unitarian church, basically. Well, anyways, this guy was talking to me about finances, says something about $10,000 and the different types of houses and the perks of living in the different types of houses. Now, what threw me off is, why would a military god talk to me about finances and stability? Yeah, I know I'm kind of not in the best situation ever, but at least I have a place and I have a car and I have jobs. I can feed my pets, stuff like that. Even though it's a struggle, it's a fucking damn struggle when you're living by yourself and you support yourself and your pets. So anyways, I called my bestie and I said, Bestie, I need help. And I need to know who I talked to. Was it Boone? I don't think it was Boone. I did not get Boone energy from it. And I've been talking to Boone lately. Boone is the only god deity being that I've been talking to lately, besides Hecate, because I have been following Hecate for since I was 17 and I'm 39 now, so 22 years I've been following Hecate. I had to math that for a minute. So anyways, I don't say worship. Though I do worship because I do sing songs and praises and chants, so I guess that is a form of worship. But I've been a priestess of Hecate for 22 years. And I tell you, man, when you meet deities or beings who are seen as deities, it's something else. So my bestie said that right after I talked about the galaxy eye, the universe eye, the stars in his eyes, like there was pure magic in his left eye, and his right eye was emerald green, which I've never heard anybody, describe eyes that way for a god. I know that they have unique eyes typically. So anyways, he said, have you ever thought about the Egyptian god of war? No, I have not. I haven't communicated with him. Why would he approach me? I haven't done any rituals to talk to him. I used to have Anubis on my altars. I used to be a high priestess of Tahuti Thoth. I highly respect Tahuti Thoth, and I believe Tahuti Thoth is current king of Atlantis, which I do believe in the Atlantean theory, where Atlantis is actually in space, in the stars. And I met Tahuti Thoth when I was meditating one time, and we were in Atlantis talking about Atlantean history, and that blew my mind. So I actually invoked Tahuti Thoth, though, for that one. And I invoke Boone. And I invoke Hecate. I've only ever dreamt of, like, Persephone coming to me and other beings coming to me on the very rare occasion when I accidentally enter their realm while I'm realm traveling or astral projecting. Because I travel to explore, and I travel to meet new beings who are my teachers and guides. Sometimes those teachers and guides, most of the time, fall into mythological lore of deities, which I believe there is a reason they still exist today. So Montu, he's an Egyptian god of war with a falcon head. Falcon. But I saw gray feathers on his uniform. Well, there are gray falcons. They're just extremely rare. So I thought about that. And I was looking up stones for Montu, and I think he has citrine and jasper, which are pretty important. And then I was kind of meditating to Boone, and I was also doing some research. Why would Montu approach me about this? Boone, aren't you supposed to be the one with giving me financial help and advice and, like, leading me down the path where I want to discover what my true skills are? Like, what am my jobs, I feel mediocre at them. I feel useless. I feel bored. Like, what is my true path? Guide me. Why is the god of war talking to me about this? Isn't the god of war supposed to be protection, strength, fighting, defending? No. Not according to my research, no. What? That's how Aries looks at everything. When you talk to Aries, all he wants is battle, 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 battle. Same with the Viking gods of war. I was so confused. Well, what is it that the gods of war want in the long run? What is the outcome of war typically for a country or civilization? Prosperity, stability, you know, those types of, like, not being hungry all the time because you have to feed your pets and, barely survive. Deciding which bill am I going to pay this payday, my phone bill or my electric bill, my car or my rent. I have to make those decisions quite often, to be honest. So the God of War came to me, my bestie says, to talk about stability and financial stuff because I want to move, and I'm debating between 3 to 4 different states right now. And this God showed me 3 different types of living situations I could choose. Yeah, okay, I could see that, bestie. What are you getting at? Well, maybe this Montu, God of War, is telling you, you have a time limit and you better make your damn decision pretty quick. You're running out of time, and your decision is going to be life affecting for the next 20 to 30 years. Oh, I can see that. Oh. So why didn't Bune tell me this? And Montu did. And why did Montu come to me still? I'm confused by that still. Well, I talked to Hecate, I talked to Bune, I talked to Isis, and I respect Egyptian lore and deities very much so, regardless of whether or not I follow them anymore. Well, maybe one of the beings I talked to decided to say, Montu, she's not listening to us. She's really not listening to us at all. Can you just, like, shove this at her and tell her to hurry the fuck up and actually make action, take action, make the manifestation happen? So anyways, I brought up the other guy that was talking about Bune, and why I thought maybe I met Bune instead of Montu was because he mentioned when he met Bune, she had the emerald green eyes. I believe that's what he said. Emerald green eyes. And green hair that went to blonde that had snake tips. And she changed forms to different females he's had crushes on, like the important females. I guess maybe if this deity was Bune and not Montu, maybe Bune was showing me certain guys that I like or could be attracted to, or maybe they're my potential in the future. So I thought maybe that's why it could have been Bune. But Bune ain't got nothing to do with falcons, birds, feathers. And I don't know about yellow and red gemstones for Bune, unless that's like gold and ruby to represent finances. So maybe it was both gods combined. Either way, it was a really weird experience. And I'm thinking I'm heavy on the side of it was Bune, but I'm also heavy on the side of maybe Bune spoke to Montu because I wasn't listening to Bune. Maybe gods do that. And I want you to know, sometimes these things happen. Like, with rituals, summoning and invoking, it takes a lot of energy. And to get what you want, you have to put out as much energy, maybe even more, with meditation and taking action to what your goals are in order for things to actually happen. And I'm pretty stagnant, especially in the winter. So I think that's part of what was going on. And, it's okay. It was definitely confusing at first, but I really appreciate my bestie's insight. The Egyptian god of war approached me because I'm not listening and I needed the discipline. There was no discipline there. It was lessons. We were talking finances, stability, and potential. And So when it comes to gods of war, I guess they're good for that too, because it's a battle out there for finances right now. It is a battle, and you want victory, and a god of war is going to help you be victorious. And I feel that energy. Um, it's like also what I want to mention with the Azulius guy that I listened to, when I was talking to my bestie about Montu and who the wears who the fuck wears feathers and gemstones for military. Who? Well, my bestie says that sounds very Atlantean. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Azulius said he was in Atlantis when he met Bune. So I think that's somehow related. And also, while I was listening to that guy's video, I did feel like something or someone was watching me and like actually paying attention to me or something, because whenever he would say something like a name or a city or location or something weird like that, I would kind of get jumpy, like, wait, what? Like, I thought I heard another being or felt someone even touch me at one point. That guy's video is pretty powerful for just being, hey, this is his experience. Well, this is my experience with dealing with entities and beings. And I think the mutual grounds, no matter where the being is from, is going to be Atlantis. Atlantis is huge. And deities change forms. So you may be looking at one person, and that person can be like 3 people at once. Their face changes, their body stays the same, the hair stays the same, the eyes stay the same. The color of the skin changed for me when I was watching this guy. I was kind of blown away, like, oh, interesting. Like, I kind of liked it. I kind of digged it. The eyes, the emerald green, and the galaxy eyes. Those are things you want to pay attention to know if you were truly talking to a deity or a powerful being of some sort. Pay attention to the details of the eyes, and do they change form, what the environment is. Because I remember the Zelius guy talking about how the hut looked small on the outside, and when he went in, it was much, much bigger, like TARDIS or something from Doctor Who or whatever. Anyways, in my vision, in my astral travel, it was like looking at one of those changing photos. That's kind of, you know what I mean? Where it looks like one guy is standing straight, and then you move it, and he's all, huzzah, or whatever. I forget what the word is to describe that. Well, that's kind of how I felt like the house was that I was at, the 3 houses in one. And you got to remember too, when you're in another dimension, another realm, another place like that, they're beyond 3D. They're beyond 3D and 2D. I don't even know if that was 5D or 4D or whatever the heck. That's crazy stuff that we can't comprehend as humans. Everyone's experiences are different, and when you're summoning beings and entities or speaking with them, you will definitely feel energy changes. You will definitely just like know for a fact you're not making shit up. And you really should pay attention to the details and write them down, unlike me, because I should have written down more of the conversation. The guy mentioned $10,000 in different types of houses, and my bestie filled in the rest for me. Like, hurry the fuck up and make your decision before your time expires. Yeah. Well, anyways, I wanted to share my most recent experience, and over the winter, I have been actually communicating with Bune and doing my rituals and not getting an answer or a response like right then and there, except for the very first time. And so the second and third and fourth time, nothing at all. And then all of a sudden, bam, this dream hits. Dream, this vision, this experience, it just came out of nowhere. Well, that's all I got for now. This might be too long of a video. I hope everybody's able to get a little something out of it. And if you want to talk about your experience and who you think I might have met, was it Montu, the god of war for Egypt, or was it Bune in just a different form, being straightforward with me? Like, or was it both in one form? Did they both like somehow change? Like, is that why they were changing? They were two people in one, and I was able to see it. You know, those things probably happen. They didn't tell me their name. That's why I had to look things up and ask other people. Hey, yeah. Well, ta-ta for now, and I'll talk about my experiences later and what luck I have with after listening to this being, because I'm definitely going to listen, because if it's an Egyptian god, I do not want to get any type of curses on me from them. All right, anyways, till next time, y'all. Bye.